What's happening, y'all? Happy Easter. Welcome to Sunday Swing Trade Setup, man. Just like every week, I'm going to go over the overall market, kind of give you a temperature, like what direction I kind of think the market should be going. But of course, I'm going to give y'all some swing trade plays. I haven't really been doing swing trades because the market's been going down. And most of the time, when the market's going down, I trade downwards, but I don't do swing trades in a downward direction. At least as of yet, I don't do swing trades in a downward direction. But just in case the market is gonna bounce, I still feel like the market can still go down. But just in case the market is gonna bounce, I've seen some setups. So we're gonna get into that, man. Let's look at the fear and greed index like we always start out with. And let's see how the market feels. All right, so fear and greed index, we're fearful. You want to be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. Now, in this case, I'm not really recommending that. We looks like we've been fearful for a minute. A year ago, we were fearful. A month ago, we were fearful. The markets have been in fear for a while. So markets, they just scared. They scared. They got their tail tucked between their legs, and there's probably good reason for that. So you want to approach swing trading in the upward direction with caution. Um, but we are fearful. So let me pull up the total stock market index, VTI, and let's see what direction that look like it's gonna go in. So let's pull up the chart. We're gonna look at the VTI and we're gonna get the VIX, right? So the VTI, let me make sure I'm sharing my screen so y'all can see me. All right, cool. So the um, VTI is kind of, it looks like we kind of been stagnant last week. Last week, it wasn't really no big movements. It was a short week. And if you look at the last four candles all the way over to the right, wasn't too much play last week. Last week was really a neutral week. But we did have this really strong, I guess that was probably, I don't know, Thursday or Friday or the week before, or maybe Wednesday, but this real long green candle. You know what I'm saying? That could have been a little bit of momentum to say, like, you know what I'm saying, the stock market may be trying to push upward in the upward direction. So this is on the daily time frame. If you look at the MACD indicator, which if you want to use a MACD indicator, ideally, if you want to trade or swing trade, you could trade in the direction of the color of the MACD, right? So according to the MACD, the total stock market is going upwards. We do have some upward momentum, as you can see, since February, the market has been going down, and it looks like there has been some directional change a little bit. Let's take a look at the weekly time frame. So if you look at the weekly time frame, the MACD also looks like it's about to turn green. That's on a higher time frame. So that's giving me a little bit of feeling of upward momentum. Now on the monthly time frame, you know what I'm saying, is the higher time frame. So I do feel like overall, ideally, based on the MACD on the monthly time frame, we should think bearish. But based on the weekly time frame and the daily time frame, I feel like we could have some upward momentum, you know what I'm saying, for next week. So let's take a look at the VIX, the volatility index, and the VIX moves inverse to the stock market. Let me make sure y'all can see this. Yeah, so the VIX moves inverse to the stock market. So whenever the VIX is going up, the stock market is going down. Whenever the stock market is going down, the VIX is going up, right? And if you notice, if you look to the left, whenever the VIX makes these big peaks, it comes down afterwards. So according to the VIX, it made a big peak. It looked like it's coming down. But on top of that, if you were to look at the MACD, this red and green line, it is red coming downwards. So it looks like the VIX is trending downwards. The total stock market is giving me the total stock market is giving me upward vibes. Let me just take a quick look at, you know what I'm saying, what the news is looking like. Just to see like what, you know what I'm saying, just to see like what the news is talking about. According to the VIX and the total stock market, it looked like we might have some bullish action for next week, but um let's see what the news is talking about. All right, so hold on. What the news at? All right, let me just do this. All right. All right. So the news, let's see what the news is talking about. Radical reshaping of State Department. Bad news. What would it take for fathers to finally, whatever? The death toll from extreme weather has become clearer. Bad news. Um, the recession may have already started. Bad news. All right, so based on momentum and indicators, it looks like the stock market is could possibly go up. Based on the VIX, it looks like it could go up. Based on the total stock market, it looked like it could go up. Based on how I feel the economy is going right now in the news, I feel like the stock market has more downward pressure to go. So let me not waste no more time, man. I'm gonna get into some swing trade plays. Um, some of these I ain't even look at the financials yet, so we'll look at them together. I'm not even familiar with some of these companies to be real, so we're gonna look at it together, and I'm gonna pull up financials, and we kind of go through some of them, and I'll go from some of my least favorite to some of my better swing trade plays. So let's jump into the first one, and we gonna go with uh, YPF. All right. Make sure I'm sharing my screen so y'all can see this. So we on a daily time frame. Usually when I'm looking at a swing trade, the daily time frame and higher are the most important time frames for me. Mainly like the 4 hour daily and weekly, but the daily time frame has to be the most important to me. So on this company, YPF, what is that? Whatever this company is, I don't know what they do, so we got to look at their financials. But on a daily time frame, I liked a lot of stuff, so I'm gonna go through what I like. So I see a cup and handle pattern. We are above the 9-day moving average. The MACD is green. This right here, and the RSI is above. The RSI had crossed upwards, but the RSI also giving me like kind of like bull flag vibes. Like if you look over here, all the way over to the right, the RSI kind of giving me bull flag vibes. So sometimes you can see patterns in indicators too to kind of give you additional confirmation. But let me pull up the cup and handle so y'all can see what I mean by the cup and handle pattern. Now you want multiple. You don't just trade off of um, a pattern and that's it. You need multiple confirmations. Um, But when I look at a pattern, it at least give me like, okay, let me look further into this swing trade, right? So the cup and handle pattern, let's look at it. So the cup and handle pattern, as you can see, the candles, they form a cup. Then it kind of trails off to the side a little bit before going upwards, right? It almost give me like a cup slash bull flag pattern. You know what I'm saying? But this is the cup and handle. So when you see this on the chart, potentially you want it to go upwards, but it's not a confirmed cup and handle until it breaks that neckline of the bowl of the cup, right? So let's go back to the daily time frame on this one, and this would not be a confirmed cup and handle pattern, I guess, really up until, I don't know, you could say probably either right here where it's at. Hold on. Either right here where it's at or right here. So we're gonna say it confirmed cup and handle, maybe if it gap up, but let's say 33, let's say like 33, 33.5, 34. If it goes above that, then it's probably a good call option. But if we look on the hold on, my bad. Let me pull that back up. So yeah, right where I got this green line at, that would be breaking the neckline, or we could even consider, where it's at, a nice neckline too. So you don't get into the cup and handle. Well, that's on the 4 hour time frame. But if you look on the 4 hour time frame, it's also a cup and handle pattern, right? And it's also giving cup and handle vibes on the daily time frame. So really, I kind of like it on the daily, the 1 hour, and the 4 hour. But I don't know how they're doing financially. So we gotta look at money before we just trade off of patterns. You know what I'm saying? They gotta be profitable. Gotta be. So that's YPF. Let me take a look. Um, but if you decide to even trade this company, like, you know what I'm saying, look into what they actually do and all that. Like, don't just trade off of patterns. But we're gonna go into the financials and we're gonna see what they pockets looking like. Okay. Total revenue, it's been increasing. What I don't like is that we had a big increase. Let me make sure y'all can see these financials. So look at the financial statement. If you look at the total revenue, we've been increasing over time. But what I don't like is that in 2022, we had a big increase and then a decrease in 2023. Um, and yeah, the gross profit is inconsistent. So this stock, technical wise, qualifies for a swing trade, but it does not qualify for a swing trade on the financials. So if you want to try to swing trade just based off a chart only, I like the way the chart look, but the financial cancels that as a swing trade, in my opinion. So let me go to I got another one that was kind of I got it. Well, that was a weak one. I ain't even gonna go over that. I'm gonna go over the ones that I really like. Because I was looking for real. Let's do Best Buy. I gotta look at Best Buy financials too, because I'm not too sure how they doing financially. Um, but Best Buy, let me pull it up. So Best Buy on the daily time frame. Best Buy on the daily time frame, we have what looks like a hold on, my bad. Let me move that line out the way. Where my trash can? All right, so Best Buy on the daily time frame. We are above the 9-day moving average. And when I say 9-day moving average, I'm talking about this orange line coming down, right? When the stock goes above that line, typically, ideally, you want to think going in the upward direction. I see, I see a pattern ish, not quite a pattern yet. Um, but eh, it's kind of giving me double bottom vibes. Best Buy is kind of giving me double bottom vibes, but it's one of my least favorite, to be real, because it's not a true double bottom. But let me pull up the double bottom pattern so y'all can see that. Um, it's not a true double bottom, so I'm not in love with the pattern. If you got to question the pattern, then you know what I'm saying. It's not a good pattern, but um what I did like about it is that it was potentially a double bottom. And then on the last day, the volume was higher than the two prior days. If you look at these green bars on the bottom, um, when you got have higher volume, that's more participants in the price action. Um, so it's above the 9-day moving average. It looked like it could be a double bottom. I'm not really in love with I'm not really in love with it, but this is a clear double bottom. You know what I'm saying? Basically a W. And it's not confirmed until it breaks neckline. So you got to make sure with the patterns, you're getting confirmation, you're breaking necklines and all of that. So buy, I'm not too in love with that, to be honest, but let me down in time frames to see uh the indicator's green, but I'm not really seeing a pattern for sure, except for you know what? We do look like a head and shoulders on the 4-hour time frame. So that could have been a reason why I put it on the list. I might have seen multiple patterns. So I'm gonna pull up a head and shoulders pattern. Let me make sure we looking at the same thing. Okay, cool. So let me pull up a head and shoulders pattern so y'all can see, you know what I'm saying, to verify what I'm talking about. Inverse head and shoulders. All right, so head and shoulders pattern is literally, so y'all take a little look at that over to the right, and we gonna pull up the explanation or description. So the head and shoulders pattern and the inverse head and shoulders pattern is literally the same thing, just flipped upside down. Inverse head and shoulder is literally two shoulders. You know what I'm saying? The stock going down, going up to retest the level, going back down to create a head, retest that level, making another shoulder before breaking the neckline, right? That's an inverse head and shoulders. Of course, you don't enter until confirmation, which is the break of the neckline, or it breaks the neckline and retests the neckline, right? So take a little image or snapshot of that, and then we're gonna go back to the chart. And on Best Buy, you can see what kind of resembles the head and shoulder pattern, right? So we got shoulder here, we got shoulder here, and then we got a head here. You know what I'm saying? It's not a perfect pattern, but it looks good enough to me. You know what I'm saying? You probably be best to, if you wanted to jump in a swing on Best Buy for confirmation of the head and shoulder, you probably wait until it breaks 65, which is kind of far from where it's at right now. It's like 62. So that's not a stock that go up a whole $5, $6 in a day. But also looking at the hourly time frame, it's also giving head and shoulder vibes. So I guess according to the MACD of it being green, um, on all three time frames, and then the head and shoulders on all three time frames gives Best Buy um, a possible swing trade prospect for me for next week. So now I'm gonna get into the three that I like the most. Um, let me do, and I ain't gotta look at the financials on these two, on these three. So ExxonMobil, the reason why, let me make sure y'all can see what I see. I kind of got this like marked up with levels or whatever, but with ExxonMobil, the reason why I like ExxonMobil is because one, the market is trending downwards, and with when the market is going down, usually oil companies perform better, right? So this one was kind of like, let me take a look at it. Oil should be going up if the stock market is going down, right? So this is more just like a inverse of the overall trend type of thing, right? So I didn't like this wick. You know what I'm saying? As you can see, we have this wick, meaning that's, something pushed it down during the last trading day on Thursday. But I did like that it was above the 9-day moving average, and the MACD is turning MACD turned green on a daily time frame. On top of that, the RSI, it looks like the lines have crossed or whatever. So that play, not necessarily based off of financials or anything like that, is more just kind of like a play on the market. The market's been going down, so I expect oil and gas companies to go up. But if you look here on the 4-hour time frame, we're at the top of the Bollinger Band. 1-hour time frame, I kind of like a little better. Looks like it's trending upwards, kind of staircasing in the upward direction. But that indicator, that MACD indicator, just turned red. So I'm not really in love with ExxonMobil either. ExxonMobil is really just a play to go against the current trend. So we're gonna go into my two favorite. Right, let me make sure y'all can see. Okay, I got it pulled up. So my two favorite is Target, and we're gonna start on the 1-hour time frame. So on the 1-hour time frame, usually what it's giving me is a consolidation on the 1-hour time frame. And one thing about consolidation is usually there's consolidation before a change in direction. So you have the direction that the stock is going, you know what I'm saying? Like it's coming down, and then it has a consolidation. And usually consolidation is like a buildup for it to go in the other direction. So on the 1-hour time frame, I liked it because of the consolidation. We're above the 9-day moving average, and our MACD is pointing green in the upward direction, right? Let's see what the 4-hour talking about. So on the 4-hour time frame, MACD is also in the upward direction. And it looks like we have a potential. It looked like it could be a head and shoulders, but it's too much guessing in that being a head and shoulder. But I like this double bottom over here. I like this double bottom right here. Look like it's not a confirmed double bottom until it break that neckline of 95. So if Target breaks that 95 price range, it's probably gonna go. You know what I'm saying? It's probably gonna go after breaking that neckline of the double bottom. Right? You got two bottoms right here, one right there, one right there, and then this is your neckline. And the neckline is where you get confirmation. It has to break the neckline in order for you to enter the trade. So you wait for it to break that neckline right at an even